Hi, welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials. I'm here with Tony Tortorici. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Doing great. Let's talk about some everyday cybersecurity lessons we can get from the stories you guys covered on this week's ThreatTraq. The first one was about a botnet that's really working on spreading itself, but also spreading a crypto miner. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so Matt had this really interesting article that he brought to us today where it discusses a botnet that is doing active scanning out there. And when it finds anything that it can compromise, it installs a crypto miner. And it looks like from what Matt was talking about today that it's a conglomeration. They're using crypto mining pools, which means they're kind of bringing everything that they're mining together. But this really just kind of outlines the fact that you got to make sure that any system that's sitting out on the internet is patched and secure.
Yeah. What are some other ways that people can protect themselves from attacks like this, from botnets?
That's a really good question. A couple items that come to mind is make a decision. Does your system need to be internet facing? Sometimes it's really a neat idea to be able to have your systems do that. But if your application or the function of that system does not need direct internet access, don't expose it. The other one is system inventory. You got to know what systems you have if they have to be internet facing and what's on them. Anytime that there are any announcements from any of the software vendors that you have on your system, make sure that you're keyed in, that you know when there's new patches, you know when they find a vulnerability and they've got something to fix it, and turn around, do it right away.
Now, David brought us a story about a Microsoft 360 phishing campaign. It's kind of interesting. Talked about Lego blocks, kind of putting all these different blocks and stages together to make kind of a phishing campaign that's hard to detect.
Yeah, I really liked David's article. It was a great conversation. Highly recommend anyone to check it out. But David goes into detail concerning phishing events for email and doing email security. As long as I really thought that this one was something to be concerned about. Standard phishing typically comes in an attachment or a link that goes out to a website where they try to capture your credentials. This one will circumvent some security controls that are out there today, because the file that's going to come in is going to appear somewhat inert. And the reason why is once this file starts functioning, it literally will go out into the internet to different places and pull little bits of code. And it's almost like Lego blocks, and that's why they use the term Lego blocks with the article, is they bring all these little pieces of code local and then they assemble it. And once it's assembled, that's where the phishing lure is. So unless you're looking for it, you're doing sandboxing technology, most systems or some systems might not even know that it's there. We talked about how malware, not everything about malware is nefarious. There's a lot of other functions that need to happen, but there's that one or that, or two that are the nefarious pieces. When you're pulling things in from here and there and there, it's hard to really tell what's happening until it's all put together and then it fires.
So given that and how difficult it is to detect, how do you protect yourself from being infected?
You try to study and understand social engineering. So basically, you got to question everything that comes across your screen. In email, do you know the person? Is the address something that you're familiar with? Does the address seem off? So if it's coming from your buddy Bob, but it's not yahoo.com, it's gmail.com as an address, it may not be Bob. So you have to actually be the offensive player when you're dealing with email or anything online, because you don't know what's on the other side of the screen. You don't know who's on the other side of the screen. So you have to, a little bit of paranoia is not a bad thing when it comes down to email security.
Very true. Lastly, let's talk about your story. It was about vulnerabilities in IoT devices.
I found this, it just came out. It was really interesting. For years past, previous threat tracks, there's been a lot of conversation about IoT botnets and all the different nefarious things that can happen here. This one, a researcher showed 9 different DNS-related vulnerabilities impacting TCP/IP. And they were basically discussing 9 different vulnerabilities, but against 4 different operating system types. But those operating systems sitting on these devices are servers, their IoT devices, their industrial control units. So it's a wide variety of things out there, but there are 9 vulnerabilities related just to DNS that they released. Some of these were from 2016, but they're also, this year, 2021.
So what advice can we give people here to protect IoT devices?
Now, very similar to the botnet stuff that Matt discussed, I can go into more detail here to kind of add on to what we talked about previously, but definitely be engaged and know what you have out there, what you own. As a company, if you do deal with IoT devices, inventory management, know what's out there, the flavor of whatever operating system is out there, and then be engaged with those vendors to make sure that you know if there's a CVE out there, and those are the different names for these exploits are in the CVE code, and just know what you have out there. Monitor those devices. Are they acting funny? Are they getting a lot of data? Are you able to view those logs and protect your assets? Patch when you can, and then you won't be part of the issue if your devices get scanned and hit. These are remote code execution, they're denial of service, they're DNS cache poisoning. They're not nice things.
Certainly not. Listen, thank you for all that great insight, Tony. We appreciate it.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
For great insights like that, all of you who are watching, please like and subscribe below. And also, if you want to take a deeper dive into these stories, click on the playlist below. And we'll see you next time.